Sam, a very good morning to you. If I may, I'm going to use two cliches to describe what's happening here today. One of it, hive of activity, and that is Durban today. And the second one, of course, is that the atmosphere is electric. Now, you hear that all the time when there are big functions, but it's very true of what's happening today. Yes, we're coming to you live from eThekwini ahead of the 2014 Vodacom Durban July. Lots of people have come out. You asked which marquee we're at. Well, we're at Level M's marquee, and I don't know if you can see behind me, but pretty much still setting up, and the finishing touches are being put on a number of marquees. And we're here, of course, to tell you all about what's happening at the Vodacom Durban July. We're not only going to tell you about the fashion, which is very important, but I'll also give you tips on where you can put your money if you are a betting guy or a betting girl. But all of that is coming a little bit later, because right now we're going to focus on something that's very much a part of not only Vodacom Durban July, but South Africa as a whole, and I dare say Southern Africa, and that's music, because we are a very musical people. So to discuss this a little bit further, and I must say my notes are written very clearly and very well on my tablet, but it's decided to die on me, so a lot of things are going to die on me today. I'm going to let the man himself, who's actually part of DJs Unite, that's a DGU, just to speak to us a little bit about what music plays, what role at least music plays in Southern Africa, and what we can learn as a people, and what youngsters can pick up if they want to get into this particular industry. A very good morning to you, Gregg Maloka. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I'm going to hope that my memory is still intact, because you and I discussed this off air briefly. Give us a little bit of an idea of what exactly we are talking about today, and why you decided to embark on this venture.
Well, it's the 10th Southern African Music Conference. We have been hosting this particular event, particularly in two cities, Johannesburg and KZN. But we've done a lot more of these events in KwaZulu-Natal. And, to celebrate the 10th annual, we, decided to take this into townships. The event was really inspired by the Winter Music Conference in Miami, which we went to 15, 17 years ago, which is basically a gathering of all dance music aficionados. That's where people go in and they trade, they create music together. There's a whole conference around new technology, new songs, and so forth. And so, we figured South Africa, in the earlier days, we figured South Africa is a talented environment. There's a lot more people that are into house music in particular, which is how it started. It's now morphed into basically a major conference that focuses not only on dance music, but focuses on the business of music, anything from front of the scenes to behind the scenes. We're now looking at it as really kind of a content conference driven largely by music.
And that's very important. Now, you've done it in July, so that, those who are in school, those youngsters can be on school holidays, they'll be able to participate. You've taken it to townships this time around. So young people in the townships, why this particular focus?
Two reasons. I think one of it is that we've always wanted to be able to reach out to as many and as far away places as possible. But the other, in particular in KZN, we were excited by the vision that the municipality had, not just around growing the music culture, but also creating economic opportunities for people. So as you know, much like the Durban July, all this infrastructure, all the people that come in and set up, all the businesses that get to participate, get to enjoy the economic activity that comes with it. So similarly, we decided to create a same kind of activity, although we're not nowhere near the size of the Durban July. But for regions like Gomashu and Umlazi and so forth, and where we've been able to create the conference using local resources, so local caterers, local venues, local sound suppliers, and so forth. So I think for us, it became an event that allowed us not only to just focus on music, but the impact of that particular business. We booked B&Bs for some people to stay there and so forth. So, their involvement, particularly the folks at Durban Tourism, really kind of helped us see this thing through. Yeah.
So there's a lot of economic value as well, but I also want to turn my attention to the economic value of music in South Africa. We are seeing quite a lot of talent coming through, but the issue of quality versus quantity is something that's very important as well. So with the introduction of this seminar, this conference that you're bringing, and you're skilling people not only on the business side of music, the technical aspects, management, etc., are you hoping to see a new crop of musicians burst forth?
Well, let me put it to you this way. If you've heard the names Euphonic, DJ Shimza, Tira, Black Coffee in most ways, all of these guys came through conference, came through, guys like Kalawa Jasmine from an inspiration point of view, from a guidance point of view, all of it through the same path. And we've seen those successes. But also, what most people don't know is that South African dance music or house music is actually #1 in the world. And all of this came through, this particular conference and the initiative we have in Miami that we do every March that's supported by Arts and Culture National. So, all of these efforts have actually created South Africa to be #1 globally from a dance music point of view. And we're now looking at, creating a space where we're able to convert that position into a space that can be of value. Not just, you can't just be #1 and not be of value, but also to increase the scope where many more artists can come through and be found through this particular process.
Increasing the scope, branching out, adding value. South Africa being #1 when it comes to dance music. You're also crossing borders now. You focus on Southern Africa, and we can hear you also spoke about Kalawa Jasmine, some of the works that they did with Uhuru. A lot of influence from crossing our borders. Is this the general angle that the industry is going into right now? We're meeting up with our African brothers and sisters?
We've always wanted to, and I think that the reason that never happened was that, our destiny was always in someone else's hands. Somehow we kind of always looked somewhere else for someone to do it for us. And that's not how it works. And that's really part of this conference as well is, it talks to mind, it talks to spirit, it talks to being able to do things, for yourself, being, able to kind of spot opportunities. And part of that opportunity is the growth in the continent, which is a natural evolution into that particular space. And, I think, having seen what, Kalawa has done, especially in the Nigerian market, watching how, artists in Uganda are reaching out, watching how, there's a guy called DJ Jeff who's from Angola, who's, also, gone through Nulu Records in New York. We met in Miami over the years, and, he's become an incredible DJ and remixer who's inspired by the South African scene. So, looking at all of that, we think that Africa is this is its time. This is our time to really stand up and take our space.
Well, there you have it, and thank you so much for the investment that you are doing on your behalf, just to make sure that our industry is one that we can all be proud of. And yes, as we have this conversation here at the Durban July, we can only say that a little bit later we'll be chokoching ourselves. So do stay with us. It's back to you in studio.